Hey everyone, how are you? Can you guys hear me well? Lovely. That makes me really happy to hear. Thanks so much for the confirmation. Hi, Anna. Hi, Drew. Hi, Ann. Hi, everyone. Hi, Ishan. Hi, Ryan. Hi, Tony. So, just a few of you guys just saying hello to each of you. My name is Najee Bartley, and I want to get started and just kind of talk to you guys about email accessibility because this is something that is dear and true to my heart. So, with that being said, let's get started, guys. Okay. So, share a window, share my screen. I don't want to share a specific window, darling. Google Chrome. All right. Come here. All right. Just do a little jiggling and a little jangling. Come on. Let me know if you guys see anything. Do you guys see anything? There we go. Slideshow. Are you guys able to see the screen? It's loading. Can you guys see this, everything? Give me a word or something because I can't see you guys right now. All right. Yes, perfect. Good. All right, so guys, welcome to Emails for All, a talk about accessibility and diversity in marketing communications and how we as email devs can ensure that our code and email designs exclude no one. All right, guys. So, I am Najee Bartley. I am an email dev. I love emails. Emails are my thing. They make me happy. I am also a huge enthusiast for accessibility and diversity. So let's talk a little bit about it. So accessibility and diversity go hand in hand when creating successful marketing campaigns. Accessibility being the ability to ensure, or the steps that we make to ensure that everyone, regardless of their cognitive or physical differences, are able to experience our email campaigns in a similar or as close to possible equal fashion. Whereas diversity, just understanding that everyone is unique and different in appearance, styles, choices, life choices, and things like that, and being able to make sure that when we communicate, we communicate inclusively, so that everyone feels like we are speaking to them and not just a particular segment of people. So, how many people were potentially maybe use glasses to see better, or maybe they may make their screens bigger? Well, 15% of the world's population has some form of it, either a visual, cognitive, physical, or motor disability, with 328 million people being here in the US. So it's a ton of people who have difficulties with accessing our email communications. Come on, take your time. So what does this mean for us, though? What are we trying to say? This means that 15% of our email list can actually be read. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of what it sounds like to someone who is visibly impaired and what they experience. So what I decided to do is I decided to kind of give you guys a little bit of a snippet of what it sounds like. So take a listen.
Now in audio recording window. Show capture device. Chrome. Alarm clock. Final HRS $5 one day shipping alarm clock. Najee.taylor89@gmail.com. Gmail system. Print all button. Group not important image. Inbox button. Remove label button. 2 items. Link. Unsubscribe. Not starred. Reply button. More. Show details. Link. Image. Chrome has new window. Link. NEW. Link. Dresses. Link. Tops. Link. Jeans. Link. Lingerie. Link. Shoes. Link. Image. Link. Email. You are currently on a link. Unlabeled image. Visited. Unlabeled image. Slap quick.
So I have a question for you guys. How much money did you spend on that marketing campaign? I'm pretty sure you didn't spend a dime. Can anyone possibly tell me what kind of dresses or what kind of clothing they heard in that email? You didn't hear any. But if I were to show you guys the very popular email that email was, The brand and the company, all of us probably shop there. That was a very, very popular clothing brand of email that sells not just clothing, they also sell shoes, but a retail brand. And we wouldn't know what we were hearing if we were what kind of advertising or marketing campaigns we were receiving if we were visually impaired. We would not have spent a dime, to be truly honest with you. It's email campaigns like this that our visually impaired community have to deal with every single day. And you guys, we lose so much money with when this happens, when we do this. So I did a self-study in 2020 during the COVID times, and I asked 10 visually impaired people how they feel about emails. 9 out of 10 people felt like emails lack integrity. This was so true that there actually was a study from 2017 to 2021 of the increasing amount of lawsuits because of lack of web accessibility, for lack of content accessibility during COVID. Numbers rose from 814 in 2017 to 2,895 companies were receiving lawsuits, a huge 14% increase from just 2020, a bigger increase from 2017. People are starting to sue because they can't actually understand or have any real understanding or grasping of the information that they are receiving from websites and email communications. So what does all of this lead to? This reveals that 2/3 of internet transactions initiated by people with visual impairment are going to be ending in abandoned carts. That's our stuff. What does that mean for us when it comes to money? That means that $6.9 billion is being lost. But how can emails be so distrustful? Come on, I clicked the button already. All right. Why does this matter? Why do these numbers even matter to us? This matters because emails have grown since COVID of 2019 to 2021. Email return on investment, ROI, is 4,200%. It's increasing from 2020 to 2022. Email businesses have increased their use of emails from 64% to 89%. And half of the world uses emails. So these numbers really do matter. 650 million to roughly 1/4 of people in the United States have some form of a temporary or even permanent disability. So we are losing billions and billions of dollars. All right. So I say all this to say that emails are a gateway to consumer buying power. But what is contributing to our loss? It's the things that we're doing. What's the issue? Well, the challenges are our subject lines. Our challenges are the images that are in our emails. Our challenges are the structure in which our emails are being built in. They're not easily comprehensive to the computer screen readers. And our buttons are barely being seen. They're not being read. They're not easy to digest. So why do you take so long? Come on. Any moment. This thing takes a second. Sorry, guys. It's taking a second to come on in. There we go. So take a listen to a visibly impaired listener, Danny.
As a blind person, when I read my emails, especially when it's like a solicitation email from a business, I really want to know that the company actually cares about me from the very beginning. Like knowing that the pictures have captions in it, it's so important to me. Also, knowing that their website is friendly to people with visual disabilities, meaning it's easy to use my screen reader It doesn't take forever to read down the page. Everything, is kind of in an orderly fashion. All of those things just make it so much easier for me. And I think Amazon ends up getting most of my money because they have they've got the best technology out. So I really appreciate that, and I appreciate thoughtfulness when people think, oh, my consumers could be somebody who is disabled. That means a lot to me. Thank you.
So that is from Danny Jackson. That is just from her perspective, and she is a visually impaired consumer who does her best to shop online as best as possible. Now, what you guys see to the left here is a comment from Barry Jacobs. He says, I asked him if he could give us any advice. What would you give your email devs? He said, label buttons with alt text and descriptions on discounts being offered. Sometimes I get an email that says 50% off. And I'm left sitting there thinking, 50% off of what? I must click the link to find out. Some people don't want to do all that work. All right, guys. So here are a few things that I think we should consider. Come on. Sorry, guys. Come on. There we go. Oh, go back. So I urge you guys to consider this. Consider clear subject lines and pre-headers. Make sure that your subject lines are short and to the point. And this is more so for the designers in the room. I know that as email devs, we don't necessarily have control over these things, but we can maybe say, hey, this is something I might want to point out to you guys as, I just took this really cool accessibility talk from Najee, and she just kind of gave me some advice. Make your subject lines short and to the point. Pre-headers should be quick, insightful, and tell us the purpose of the email. Use semantic HTML tags. We're going to dive really deep into this in a few minutes, but semantic code helps the structure of the emails for your screen readers by prioritizing what is important in the email. Alt text on all images, guys. All images, even if it is just like a tiny little icon. If you chose to put a icon or an image in that email, there needs to be an alt text for it. A quick little story about that. I spoke to one of my interviewees and I asked them, how do you feel about alt text and like, what are your thoughts? And they say, well, most of the time I really don't get, most of the times the very tops of the emails, maybe there's like a logo up there or something, but there's no alt text up there. And it makes me feel like, why do you get to choose what I get to experience on my emails? And we as people, we're thinking to ourselves, oh, well, it's just a tiny little logo or it's just a tiny little icon. They don't want to deal with that. It's not that important. But to a visually impaired person, you chose for them what they got to see in that email that day. And that's not fair. That's not fair to them. How would you feel if you went to the store and people decided to put certain things at the very top of the shelf and said, well, you can't actually access that because you're too short. You don't need that item. You don't need it. Don't worry about it. That's what a lot of our visually impaired customers feel, or clients feel, when we make a decision to not put alt text on every single image that is on that email. Like I said, even if it's the tiniest image, if we chose to put the image there, put the alt text there. I like to say, treat alt text like you treat seasoning on chicken. Put alt text on everything. And you know what I'm trying to say. Put that on everything you can. Another thing, big buttons. Buttons should be very large. They should be at least 45 pixels width and 45 pixels height. That is the width of your thumb left. If you do it vertically and horizontally, that is the width of a thumb. It should be 100% width when going mobile. And all of your paragraph links, they need to be underlined. But again, we're going to go deeper into some of these ways to support accessibility in just a moment. ARIA labels are really important. They come in as a second support to buttons and images. We use ARIA labels to help users better read the buttons. And especially if we want to kind of get our users at input, we don't just want the input of those who can see. We want the input of everyone. We want to know how we can improve our services for those who are visually impaired. And when we're doing surveys, ARIA labels really come in handy for those surveys. So yeah, they really get some really good suggestions there. All right, guys, so let's dive a little deeper, okay? Did I push it? There we go. All right, so when I talk about semantic emails, I'm talking about doing things like adding header tags. Header tags, when you say header 1, header 2, header 3, that's actually symbolizing importance to a screen reader. That's really, really a big deal. Paragraph tags, they tell the screen reader where the paragraphs are, and this is really good. We need these things. This makes it a lot easier for visually impaired people to actually better experience our emails. Make sure that we have labels, like I said, ARIA labels, so that we know, has this already been checked? Has it not been checked? Making sure that we have things like role equals presentation. That's huge. It takes a lot. Some screen readers will actually go in and read table, role equals presentation, width equals 300, align equals left. Like, but when we have put that role equals presentation, it skips a lot of the nonsense and gets us right to the meat of the conversation for our emails. And we want something like that. That's what we need. We want to get them in and out. We literally want to give all of our customers, but especially those who are visually impaired, we want to give them the opportunity to feel like they go into the email, get what they want, make their purchase, click their button, their CTA button, and then we get them out. It's an in and out transaction. We don't want them to have to feel like they have to constantly search. Remember, visually impaired people get the same amount of emails as those who have no differences in vision. So, guys, they are sifting through emails all day long too. They're doing the same thing. Let's try to make it as easy as possible. So now, let's talk about these subject lines. All the times we get that whole, hey, want to know what's inside? What's the secret? Check it out. And this is a real email. Well, for us, I'm like, yeah, okay. I might want to know what's inside. I like your little eyeball emoji. Okay, I see what you got going on there. But for someone who's visually impaired, you are asking them to do 3 or 4 extra steps just to buy from your business. We don't want to do things like this. And as much as we love this is cool, it's not the best thing to do. Let's try to keep it simple and straight, and let's be real to the point. Let's use a no nonsense approach. Clearly state the purpose of the email. Hey, shoes, new shoes for July, new outfits. There's so many, all new outfits 50% off. Not just click here for 50% off. Click here for 50% off of new shirts, new pants, and our summer collection. Things like that. So what we have to the left is an actual button. A real button from a real email. People can't tell. No one would know that this is a button. What we have to the right, there's a lot more descriptive. It's bigger. That's important. We want big, bold, obvious. And then for these rate our services, this is when those ARIA labels are really going to come in handy. So let's talk about those ARIA labels. Adding role button makes the element appear as a button control to the screen reader. This role can be used in combination with ARIA pressed attributes to create toggle buttons. Having things like, and then if it says pressed false, this lets the screen people know, hey, this hasn't been pressed yet. Select one. Which one you want to go with? Having things like an ID in your button also really helps for better descriptions in our buttons. We want to make it as easy as possible, guys. All right, so now I'm going to show you guys just an email that already works, that looks good, and some code that you guys can try. And this one has the whole top to bottom of semantic coding. It has everything. So it has H1 tags. Check out some of this code if you guys want to when I send this over to you guys. And don't forget to use some of these semantic tags, these ULs, LIs. But I also want you guys to take a listen to this email here and tell me if you guys can hear a difference.
Link image. Open table. Link image. Open table. Diner's choice best overall. Link image group. Visit link image. Diner's choice best overall. You don't have to take it from us. These spots were handpicked by diners like you. Reserve a table and then rest easy. You're in the best of hands. Link group. Link. You don't have to take it from us. These spots were handpicked by diners like you. Reserve a table and then rest easy. You're in the best of hands. See diners picks. Link group. Link. See diners picks. Mobile phone floating in hand with open table app open. Link image. And one more item. Group. Mobile phone link image. Mobile phone floating in hand with open table app open. You are currently on a link.
Do you guys hear mobile image? It's describing that this is obviously on a mobile device. Mobile image with hand. It's telling you that it's a link. Sorry. It's giving you so many descriptions. This sounds a lot better because the images, there were alt text, and the alt text weren't just it's a very detailed alt text. Your buttons had the ARIA labels and they were descriptive. Your text was clearly called out and you could hear it. It may have been a little fast, so maybe I need to slow it down a little bit. But this email was very accessible for someone who is visibly impaired. All right, so what happens if we don't? Just a real quick let you guys know kind of what happens if these things don't happen. Of course, we're gonna lose money, but realize that 108 million people don't come back to your brand when they're not being considered. According to Adweekly, more than 1/3 of Americans will refuse to purchase from a brand because of their bad marketing, even after the strategy has been changed and apologies have been made publicly. And this goes not just for accessibility, guys. This also goes for universal communications, the imagery that we put in there. And I know email devs, we don't have no choice, but email designers, we do have some influence. Maybe we can say, hey guys, let's do a little bit better. And when we lose customers, when our customers feel excluded because we didn't use universal communication, maybe we didn't consider, the imagery that we put into our email campaigns, we lose trust and we lose business. But I have a really unique solution to this. And for particularly accessibility, hire visibly impaired people. Guys, they use the tools every day. They use these tools like JAWS and ACTS. They use these different unique tools every single day. They are over 62% proficient in things that we would have to take more time to actually learn to do. They are the real ones experiencing. Why not pay them for what they already do every day? Bring them into the room. That's just some suggestions that I have for you. Talk to your designers, talk to your leadership, and try your best to just remember that universal communication and accessibility, making sure that we code with those semantic HTML tags in mind, making sure that we code with those ARIA labels, and making sure that our buttons are as big as possible will really help us to have better, clear, easily accessible email campaigns. Oh yeah, and let's not forget about that color contrast, guys. Come on, guys. We got to definitely do that. Oh, and I have a really last minute suggestion. When you get an email such as this one, say we get an email like this, and I just read this. I can't remember the amazing email dev that had it. It's I'm pretty sure Ann may remember, Ann Tomlin. She may remember this girl. If you guys want to, why don't you guys consider putting a button at the top that reads, that you guys can actually read the email to your customers? It adds a little bit of a personal feel. It allows them to skip all the nitty gritty and they don't have to listen to their screen reader's monotone button open here. You don't have to take it from us. You don't have to do all that. Why don't we actually put a button at the top of your email where you can click and say, here, read, listen to this email, and then say, hey, you don't have to take it from us, and read the email yourself. And then the next thing is put a button right below it that takes them right to the CTA button. Not only does it now feel more personalized, but they got straight to the nitty gritty. Just a suggestion. But I see a few companies are starting to do things like this, and this is going to be a trend. That little bit of personalization is going to add to the individualism, the belonging, and people are going to get more money. And I'm just trying to get a little bit more money for your business. Just an idea there. So here's some resources for you guys to consider for accessibility. as well as some diversity resources that can better help you to be more inclusive in the language and the imagery that you use when you are communicating. Thank you. Now, let's open it up for some questions. What we have 4 minutes.
Okay. I have an interesting question that came in the chat from Jeremy. What if the emails industry is personal helicopters? Visually impaired may not be the largest audience. And he followed up with, I add alt text as much as I can regardless, but my supervisor struggles to understand why. What can you tell, the managers? They don't often understand what we're trying to tell them. What advice do you have when your manager just does not get it?
So, do you have that person's name? Just so I can know. I like to address people individually.
Jeremy.
Good question. This is actually something that I too struggle with. When I build emails, I often hear management is like, this is not that important to me. It's not that important to me. Remind them of the money. See, maybe they don't have a family member who is visually impaired, but revenue loss is indeed revenue loss. And like you're saying, for a helicopter company, it may be a little bit more difficult to persuade, but communicating that, communicate the lawsuits that go out that have been increasing because of lack of accessibility. Communicate the financial gain that people are getting when they are more inclusive. And I don't know another solution, because I would just sneak some alt text in there. I'm sure he's not reading it anyway, but just an idea. Just sneak it in there a little bit, just under the nose. Just put a few little extra descriptive alt text in there if you can. I don't know. Consider, yes, I like what Gareth just said. Better pitch to your manager. Incorporate storytelling and empathy. Empathy is the new data, guys. Empathy is the new way of life. Look at how many companies are getting more revenue because they lead with empathy. Tell your manager that we need to start leading with empathy if we want more money in our businesses. And maybe show some numbers. Should maybe do a little bit of a PowerPoint to show the numbers that that they are actually increasing because people are actually leading with others in mind. Just an idea. Or you can just tell them to give me a call, because I have some things to say. I'm just saying.
Yes, absolutely. This is an interesting one from Yadira, which I feel like we all have faced at some point in our email careers. I struggle to convince coworkers that all image emails are not accessible. They come back with all the info is in the alt text. We don't need live text. Any suggestions? I feel like this is probably everyone hurts inside when they're reading this one.
Listen, they will spam you. That's what I tell. I try to tell people this all the time. You cannot just do, I am loving these questions, by the way, guys. Keep them coming. You cannot just do image. Gmail is going to think you're spam. They're going to be like, this is not real. We need the live text. We need them there. We need a little bit of a balance between imagery and live text there. It's really important, because we don't want to be spammed. If we're getting spammed, we're losing money. At the end of the day, always tailor it back to the revenue. Take it back to the money. If our opinions don't matter, which sometimes they don't, as email devs, we get pushed to the wayside. Tell them that revenue costs are going to be impacted.
Yeah, definitely. And if you have bad cell phone connection, which I do 90% of the time, yes. When the email comes in, it's like,
oh my God. And let's not even talk about, the data, guys, that it takes data to load all these images. Yeah. Come on. We don't want that. Yeah. Listen, someone said, take it back to when we were pen pals. Do you guys remember that? We would write a letter, real personal, between you and me. It wasn't to everyone. It was just me and you. And we just wrote a little letter. Yeah. Take it back to those days. There weren't a lot of pictures. It was maybe a picture in it, but that's it. One picture, but just simple, clean text. Tell us about what's going on. Get straight to the point. Consider your emails to be short and sweet. Make it easy, guys. So that's what I would suggest.
Well, thank you so much. We have had an incredibly active chat. So if you have a couple minutes to read through some of the messages after I remove your stream, just in a couple minutes here. Everyone's been really active. We have a ton of questions still kind of remaining in the questions tab. So I would take a look at that. Some people have asked for the resource links if you are able to post them.
Yes.
But thank you so much. This was such an insightful presentation, and I feel like we all grabbed a ton of value. And I loved how you interviewed people and brought in real examples. So thank you so much for your participation. We really appreciate it.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thanks, guys. And I'm really glad you guys stepped into my session. Thanks, guys.